Hello and welcome to another episode of Party Chat. This is episode 17. We had a little bit of a break. So normally this is every other week, but our last one was, I think, a month ago tomorrow. I think it was on the February 10th. But yeah, had to take a episode off, but we're back now. And today I've got my usual co-host, Ryan. Thank you for joining me. Mark won't be able to make it because he's got family stuff going on. But we got an awesome guest host here, MetalShredFreak from the RNG Gaming Podcast.
Thank you.
Glad you could join us today.
Thanks for the invite, man. I was pretty happy when I saw that message.
Yeah, so I have your other half of your podcast going to be on the next episode of Party Chat in 2 weeks. So Carlo Dojima, who's on vacation right now, already got him scheduled for 2 weeks from now for episode 18.
Yeah, I saw the last time you had him on. Yeah, you guys seem to really get into it.
Yeah, he was on for open mic a week or so ago, and we had a great chat. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, this part I did forget to mention to you. What we usually start off before we get into our topics is talking about what we've been playing lately. So, Shred, have you been playing anything lately?
Well, the main thing I've been playing has just been I've been replaying Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, because that is a game that I played maybe about 4 to 5 times already. But the last time that I played it was so long ago that my memory of like where all the like how to do all the little like nuances of where to pick up certain items and stuff like that, like after you don't play a game for a while, you come back to it and it's like you're playing it all over again. And every now and then you kind of get little fragments and bits and pieces of what you can remember, just enough to be able to be competent at it. But there's still not enough for you to feel like, oh, I've already played this. Like it still feels somewhat fresh and you still enjoy it. It's an experience again, basically. It's like watching a movie that you've watched a million times and you still love it, you know?
Yeah. I kind of have something similar. But I will get to that shortly. I will let Ryan tell us about what he's been playing as well.
Actually, gonna start replaying something. The best way to put this, I did a bunch of episodes of the original Dragon Age Origins. I was doing it from my obviously my PlayStation at the time. That stuff is still packed up because I haven't moving to a new place.
Didn't you move like 3 months ago?
Yeah, and it's all still in storage. I'm still staying with family because housing prices are insanity. So I'm probably gonna have to rent something in the meantime until I figure out like what to do. But anyway, so most of my stuff is still in storage. However, I got Dragon Age Origins on my, I bought a new gaming PC, woohoo, RTX, RTX Club. So I'm just gonna start from the beginning, and you can go back and rewatch those old playthroughs. I made it maybe be a 16th into the game, right? So I was like, I'll just start over. And I could probably clear that in a couple of sit downs. Back when I actually played it, I would only stream it for like maybe an hour and a half at a time because I'd get kind of itchy sitting in, I had a less comfortable chair. I was in an apartment, wasn't a house. Again, staying with family, so living in, anyway. So I got a much better chair. My family was very nice. They're like, well, you do a lot of that YouTube stuff. They're like, going, I was using a metal chair that was used kind of for decoration. And, it was like rustic looking, and they like put stuff on it. And so I'm like, I'm gonna borrow your chair, and they're like, you were sitting on that thing for weeks. It's like I was like, yeah, I know, it wasn't great. So anyway, I could probably get back to where I was in like 2 3-hour live streams, right? I was only like 6 hours in. Dragon Age is like 50, 60, 70-hour game, depending on how.
Yep.
Yeah. So
It's
I'm
nice.
just going to start at the beginning. Probably going to start that probably maybe today, maybe early tomorrow before our other show, Hunting Mustache Man. It's a history documentary that they did 3 seasons. We say Hunting Mustache Man because on other people's channel. Well, even sometimes on while we're actually live, but It just makes it funnier. It's a good
YouTube,
documentary.
YouTube doesn't like saying his name.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
I'm not a big fan. Ironically, I did a history video because it's all history based, right? So like even they go anyway. The show goes back through the evidence anyway. But yeah, no, like I actually did a video about the origin of the flag and how it's not a hate symbol, and that actually did pretty good. I was
I
kind of
have.
shocked.
I'll have to watch that because I know a little bit about the history of that and how like it didn't even. I think it originated in Japan, right?
It actually originated in
Was it
India.
India?
It's
India.
India.
Okay,
Yep.
right. But yeah, I'll have to check that out because I would love to hear more interesting historical facts about that. Um,
Yeah, no, I got a history channel. Unfortunately, kids in today's world, they don't know a lot about history, and yeah, we stick strictly. I mean, we make a few inappropriate jokes. It's not like my Friday night show or anything like that, but uh, it's a good crew of people. We got ourselves a German guy, Clifton, and of course we have Anna, who she was born in Russia, raised in Australia. She's lived in now she lives in England, so she's been abroad. She's also a former journalist, so she's extremely intelligent. I don't know why she hangs out with me. So yeah, no, it's a good show, but I might do that tomorrow morning before the show. Just play for like 3 hours, then go straight to the stream.
Cool. All right. So yeah, for anyone who didn't catch Dude and I's latest episode of Achievement Chasers last night, where we talked about what we've been achievement hunting over February, I did a very similar thing in that to what Shred was talking about. I keep pointing in the wrong direction. With all the fiasco around Suicide Squad, I was encouraged, I guess, to go play a good Batman game. And so I went and played through Arkham City again because I hadn't played it since it was new when it originally came out. So it'd been it'd probably been over 10 years since I'd played it. So it'd been a long time. So I went back and played through Arkham City again. And that was great. I did not get the full completion because there's a lot of stuff you got to do with all the challenges, and I'm not terribly good with it. But I did everything in the main story with all the Riddler challenges and the Harley DLC, and then the other thing was kind of like what you were talking about, Ryan, of starting over because you'd played a little bit. Is that what I've been playing through? Well, be getting back into it probably this weekend. But I started playing Immortals: Phoenix Rising. I had played that a bit here and there for like a couple hours here and a couple hours there over the last couple of years. But
What's up, Tim?
because
It's referring to my background. It's a long joke.
I
But
see that.
yeah,
we'll get
so
to that in just a
we'll
second.
get to that. I'll explain after you guys are done.
But I had played a little bits and pieces of Immortals: Phoenix Rising for a couple of challenge contests here and there. So I played like 3 hours over the course of like 3 years. So I started from the beginning and I'm playing through it in its entirety now. And it's a pretty fun game. I talked about it pretty at length last night on my stream, and I've been enjoying that game. And then I finished last night because I was panic playing it because it got announced as leaving Game Pass, and I wanted to play it before it left Game Pass. I played through Shredders, which was a snowboarding game. And I went into depth about that as well. The biggest issue I had with it was the controls were pretty terrible. But for the most part, I enjoyed most of the game. But I finished that off last night. And so that's what I've been playing lately. So let's say hello to some of the chat. We got, as I was talking a moment ago, Cult of Carl, the other half of RNG Gaming, who will be on Party Chat next episode. Reporting from Hawaii. Aloha. Just wanted to say hi. Having breakfast right now with the family. Have a great show. We'll listen later. Cool. Good to see you. You've been hopping into all of our streams because he's been 2 hours behind me instead of 2 hours ahead of me, or 3 hours, however many hours ahead of you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's well spoken. I like it. I got to get aloha and gents in the same, two separate cultures. I like that. I like gents,
Yeah.
but more than gentlemen. I think I actually say that. I stole that from a friend.
More concise.
It's more, yeah, from a friend from abroad. I started saying gents, and everybody's like,
What? Who
like,
says
you're American?
gents?
I'm like, yeah, I know, but I like it.
And we got Tim's Talk. What's up, Tim's Talk? I've seen him in a couple of my streams lately. Good to see you. Hey, yo, my favorite closet Swifty. I do not think he's a closet Swifty, given that
No,
you can see his background.
Yeah.
I will admit that Taylor looks pretty good in anime form, animated form, I guess AI animated. I did not do this. Kenzo,
Oh, the AIs, yeah.
Kenzo UK did it.
Kenzo made that for you.
Yeah, so the long running joke on Star Trek Engage, which is our usual Sunday show, we're taking this last Sunday off. we should start again next Sunday between season 1 and 2 of the original series. I told the story how I pooed in a bucket and during an emergency at work at my old job. Is an emergency, right? I could just read I could see the headline, mailman, defecates on himself, right? Just I was like, so this is an emergency. Anyway, it turned into this giant meme. And then all of a sudden he made this and she's holding a bucket. You can't really see it. Hold on. Nope, still can't see it.
Your chair's in
She's
the way.
It's
yeah,
too
she's
low. I can see the hand a little bit.
yeah,
so.
you can see
Yeah,
she's
there
holding
it
the
is.
bucket at the bottom there. Yeah, so the joke is that Anna, again, I don't know why she hangs out with me. It was a joke for a long time that she emptied the bucket. Well, now Yeoman Taylor is forever on bucket duty, and it just won't die. It won't die. It's a meme that won't die. I'm stuck with this. This is the longest meme that's been around.
This is your life now.
I prefer this one to the last one, though. I'll give you that.
You mean the one where
You have a much more attractive background.
You mean the one where yeah, because Shadow made the one with this. Hold on, there you go.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, that's where
that's hot. That's hot.
Yeah, so it's from the Big Bang Theory where obviously I'm on Leonard, but Shadu put Rexy the Tyrannosaur because I'm a big Jurassic World fan.
This was from Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
This was after Sheldon moved out. He had a horrible dream that Leonard and Penny turned his room into a sex dungeon. So, but yeah, this is the longest running meme. I think we're at a couple of months now. They usually last maybe a month tops. Yeah, so
your bucket emergency reminds me of I don't remember if it was I think it was the first one, but Horrible Bosses, where Charlie Day's character got put on a sex registry because he was at a bar and had to go to the bathroom, and like the bathrooms were like flooded or shut down or too full, so he went to the bathroom outside and happened to be next to a park, and this was like late at night, and so he got put on a sex registry.
Yeah. I mean,
I've heard that hypothetical a few times. So
when you're delivering in a neighborhood and you got a mail truck where you can get in the back and close the door between the little cab and and there's the closest gas station is about 5 minutes away, you're gonna do what you got to do because you're not gonna, and you got food poisoning, you're gonna do what you got to do. And I only got the idea from a former coworker who he had it when he had food poisoning. He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like. And same thing. He's like, I could just read the headline now. And he's like, I shit all up in that bucket. I was like, thank you. Like when it happened to me.
I'm there with you. I was on a fishing boat in Alaska for about 5 weeks, and the bathroom on the boat didn't work, so we had to use a bucket as our bathroom. So,
did they tell you that beforehand?
No.
Oh,
let's have some fun and let them figure it out to spice things up a little bit.
I'd so want my money back, dude.
Fortunately, it was July, but it was still Alaska, so we had a couple of nice days. But most of the 5 weeks was pretty miserable. But
yeah.
So, all right, we got a new face, Mitch. Sorry, I'm not terribly great with. I'm assuming that's Spanish or some sort of Latin American.
So I know I have a clue as to who that is. I think that's Raph.
Sup? I'm here for Shred's Bag Takes, no matter the topic. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that must be Raph. I know who that is.
Do you have bad takes?
What up, man?
Is that what's going on here?
We'll find out.
I know that's his. That's how it is apparently.
Tay slays. I'd date her. I want that song about me.
I mean, I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. I just wouldn't want to marry her or date her because she's going to talk to you and she has bad takes. Like,
I will get. She's very attractive. I'm not attracted to pretty much anything else but her looks. Hey, and JT Pixel's here. What's up, JT Pixel? Dino Dan Shred's Bad Takes. Dino Dan say. We have not had a chance to talk, but I saw you when you were on. Well, not with Shred. It was just with Carl, Adam. But that was a great stream. So I hope that we can have a chance to talk sometime too. But welcome everyone, and we are going to get into our topics for the day. Where did my notes go? It disappeared. Oh, there we go. All right. So we'll get into our first topic for the day, and let me catch the timestamp. There we go. 4:30. So.
I think it's cute when everybody's so much more professional than I am to talk about timestamps and notes, and I just fly off the seat. It's probably one of
Well,
my
I
streams
wing
of
it.
chaos.
I like bookmarking it,
Yeah.
so if anyone wants to go back afterwards, they can go to just the specific topic they want. And on our top 5 stream the other night, I didn't do that. It was like a 3.5-hour stream, so I had to watch back through it to get all the timestamps. I'm like, I gotta do
Make
better
them
about
work
that.
for it.
I gotta do better
Yeah,
about that as
right.
we're going. But it was a great stream where we were ranking our top 5 Mario games. It was a blast. It was. I'm going to be putting out a video this afternoon of a clip from that
Nice.
because it was a
Where
great
did
discussion.
Mario 64 rank?
Well, you'll have to watch it and find out.
I don't
It's
like
a
that
little bit
answer.
different than like where Devil's channel, where he has everyone group rank him. We were ranking our own personal top 5s.
Oh, okay.
So, although we do a group ranking at the end based on what was picked. But yeah, for that, you'll have to go and watch it. But it was a great stream, so I definitely recommend going back and watching it if that sounds interesting to anyone, because that was a fun stream. So, for our first topic for the day, I wanted to get into favorite movie games. Movie games have a stigma, a reputation for being terrible. Most of the time, they are awful. They're usually an afterthought where, not so much lately, but probably about 10 years ago, it's literally like every big hit movie had to have a tie-in game because they wanted to milk every cent out of like every franchise ever. And so they just threw together a game with bubble gum and duct tape and slapped the sticker on it. And so they have a reputation of being very bad. However, there are some hidden gems in there with some really great movie games. So I wanted to hear from you guys if you have any movie-based games that they don't even necessarily have to be good, maybe one that you really enjoyed. So Ryan, do you have anything? Or
Yeah, actually, one that stands out to me now, I'm gonna have to clarify. It's the 2005 King Kong game.
okay.
Because it actually had if you played it on PS2, it actually had the cinematics from the movie, and you actually play the storyline through the game, and it was a lot of fun. Um, again, Tim says Mortal Kombat. That's incredible. The OG Mortal Kombat movie is the only one in
That's a
my
completely
opinion.
different question. We're talking
Yeah.
about movies based on games. This is games based on movies.
Yeah. So it was
But I do love the Mortal Kombat movie.
yeah, I really enjoyed. So it was the 2005 King Kong. It had Jack Black, had Naomi Watts in it. I can't remember the one guy, Adrian Brody in it,
Yes.
and it was a very good game. It was a lot of fun. The combat, it was kind of Turok-ish. It had a feel to that. You're running through the jungle. You'll pick up spears and kind of a spear is throwing spears your standard weapon. But you could pick up guns, but you would run out of ammo. Kind of quicker. And you pick up like the old like 1930 style machine guns, which is so awesome, or 20s, I can't remember when the movie took place exactly.
30 sounds about right.
I think the 30s, yeah. So anyway, it's because they had the biplanes in it from World War One. They didn't have modern World War II era airplanes, that shot King Kong off the Empire State Building. So yeah, probably about early 1930s. Anyway, a lot of fun. If you can find it, I ended up finding it on eBay because I let somebody borrow it in the military and they never gave it back, and I didn't realize it until I was like,
Ooh.
"Oh, I remember that game." I was like, "I want to play that game," and I went looking for it, and I was like, "I think so." And then that happened with a lot of stuff, a lot of movies that because I was like the video game movie guy. That's all I spent my money on, right? And so like everybody come to me like, "Hey, can I borrow season whatever of this show or this movie or this video game?" And yeah, it was one of the ones that got stolen. But anyway, I found it on eBay for I think it was like $19 or something like that. And I was like, "Gank, yeah, that's one I would like to play on stream, but that'd be after I get my PS3 back, so out of storage."
Okay, cool. Yeah, I did play that game. I was looking at when I played it, because it was back in the early days. I played the 360 one, so the achievements were pretty new, and I was just looking at all my achievements were unlocked offline, so I did not have Xbox Live yet, so I can't tell exactly when it was, but I remember it being one of the earliest 360 games that I played. It might even have been a launch title. Yes, it was a launch title.
Was it?
It released November of 2005, which is when the 360 came out. I
I
didn't
just
play it
remember
that soon, but
I just remember it was a lot of fun because you got to play as King Kong during certain chapters, and you got to play as
Oh,
Adrian
really?
Brody's kid. Yeah, so like you would play King Kong, and you'd have to protect Naomi Watts from the Irexes. Like you'd have to beat the snot out of those three,
Oh,
and
okay,
it
okay.
was tough, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, you'd have to like, like when that stampede scene or whatever it is, like on the edge of the cliff or whatever, and he's got to like run through it, and like they're basically chasing you, and you'll get trampled. The brontosaurs will trample you or whatever the hell they call them now, the patosauruses. Yeah, it was I still think it probably stands up if I were to play it today. I'd still probably really enjoy it. I like the movie too, so I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I saw the movie once and I played the game once, and it was one of my earliest 360 games. So
What up, Static?
I vaguely remember either. But this question was inspired by a list that I saw I don't know how long ago of movie-based games that were better than they deserve to be. And I'm pretty sure King Kong was on that list. So that's what inspired it. But
That's one that I've seen brought up a lot too. Like I never played it myself because like I didn't have a lot of games growing up, but like that's one of the ones that I see pretty consistently too.
So, I did not rate it very well. So I like I said, I vaguely remember it. I have seen it on lists of better movie based games. I don't really remember much of the game, but I did not rate it very well, so I don't think I enjoyed it. But maybe there's a difference between the PS3 or PS2 version and the 360 version. Maybe that's why. I don't know, because I probably played this in 2006, so it's been 18 years. But good answer. And we had Static hopping in saying, "Yo, what's up, Static? Good to see you, buddy."
Yo.
And I will touch on Tim's momentarily. But Shred, did you have any movie-based games that you thought maybe you enjoyed? Not necessarily that they were good. I've got a couple that I actually think they are good games, but I definitely have some that I enjoyed.
Well, I mean, I've had a tendency to like some bad games just because I enjoyed it as a kid, and then the nostalgia, right? But there's a couple that stand out, but I'm gonna go with the main one that stands out to me is the Tarzan game on the N64, where it is a very simple platformer. It is very simple. You freaking it's platforming. You jump around, you swing on vines, you avoid, enemies and things that are trying to kill you, and don't fall into the pits. It's basically like you're playing a Mario game, except you're running around as Tarzan. And
it's like
what I
Mario
thought was really cool,
Pitfall,
kind of where it's just it's just a platformer. The thing
is
that it was on the
N64
N64
platformer or a 2D platformer.
2D.
Okay.
There was some parts that looked 3D-ish, but this was mostly for them trying to, mess with the graphics because it was on the N64. So as a kid who was used to playing on the SNES, seeing N64 graphics was like, yo, this looks, I wouldn't call it realistic, but
I remember at the time I was playing a baseball
yeah.
game, and me and my friend were like, dude, if you walked in and glanced at that, you might think that's a real baseball game. Now you go back and look at it, it's like, oh, that looks terrible, because most games on the N64 have not aged well.
Yeah, it's about the nostalgia. Yeah. My first,
it's like, this does not run at 400 FPS. This is garbage.
Yeah, I literally think my first movie-based video game was GoldenEye, like a lot of people. And of course, I have to give that one an honorable mention because that will always be probably my unequivocal favorite. But I did want to mention the King Kong one because it really was the first one that came to my mind before GoldenEye. But GoldenEye is just in a category of its own.
Yeah, I'm surprised neither of you mentioned GoldenEye like first thing, because I figured that'd probably be like most people's pick.
That would have been an honorable mention too, because I did play that, but I was too young to understand exactly how to play the game, because at the time I also couldn't read English. So if there's anything, so like I'm just kind of going around shooting things, and then you explore whatever little area you're in, and then I don't know what to do from there. So like there were a lot of games that I played as a child where I would just get stuck at the beginning levels only because I didn't know how to keep moving forward. Something just didn't click there, especially if it required you to read some dialogue to kind of get the hint or whatever. So there were a lot of games that I would have enjoyed as a kid if it wasn't for that. And then playing them as an adult, some of them are okay. Other ones, like I kind of missed out on it being if it's a product of its time. But the Tarzan one was one that really stood out to me because of how simple it was. And it followed the movie. Like, it wasn't a spin-off of it. But what I thought was really cool about that too was, I mean, it had the characters in there, kind of followed the story, and it did have like the coming of age chapters of it where you're playing as Kid Tarzan, and then eventually it just kind of was like you're playing as adult Tarzan. You fight the hunter that's chasing him down, and there are some 3D levels where it's not like you're really moving so much in 3D. It's just the way that it shows it, but it's like you're sliding down the thick vines and jumping over obstacles and stuff, kind of like Donkey Kong style.
Yeah, I
So
remember seeing
there's a whole lot of that.
I remember seeing clips for that
And
game.
one of the cool
So
things about that too that I remember was that one of the attacks you had was that you would throw fruit at the enemies.
mhm.
And there were different types of fruit that you could pick up that would have different effects. Like some would just be you throw it and it just deals damage. Other ones would like hit heavier but it's slower. Other ones splatter for an AoE, stuff like that. So it was something that I kind of got obsessed with as a kid, especially since I didn't have a lot of games growing up. So
Nice.
whatever you got, you play pretty obsessively.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even know there
Good
was a
point.
Tarzan game on N64. So I'll have to go and take a look at some footage from that game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
actually
because
remember.
of that game that I bought the Rumble Pack that goes in the back of the controller
Oh,
too. I remember
I
that.
got the
I was mind blown from that.
I got the Rumble Pack for GoldenEye, and then I believe you could actually use it for WWF No Mercy, which I was a huge wrestling fan at the time too. I was also probably around the age of like 14. So yeah, that's one reason the Tarzan thing. But I do remember it. I do remember seeing the videos, the clips. So
I'm pretty sure my N64 came with the Rumble pack because I got the one that came with Star Fox. And I remember Star Fox, the Rumble was a
mhm.
big thing. Um,
Yeah,
and
you
then
also for so what game did you need the expansion, like the
there were
RAM
a few games
expansions?
that that
It
was
The Zelda Majora's Mask.
yeah,
I need an
Majora's Mask.
expansion. That's the only
Yep.
one I know of, honestly.
there are a
That
couple of games that required it. Majora's Mask, I'm pretty sure required it, and I'm pretty sure
it did. I
DK64
bought it for
required
that
it
reason, yeah.
Mhm.
because DK64 came with the expansion pack. That's how I got mine. Um, One of my favorite games of all time from N64 era didn't require it, but it was limited on what features you had. If you didn't have the expansion pack, you needed it to have all the features, and that was Perfect Dark. Highly underrated. It was better
I
than GoldenEye in every way. GoldenEye was awesome, but Perfect Dark was better, and it didn't get the recognition it deserves. So I will always
speaking of
take.
who's got bad takes right now, like,
Tell me how GoldenEye is better than Perfect Dark.
because it's GoldenEye. That's all you need to say. Like, look, I never played Perfect Dark. I'm obviously just giving you a hard time,
I
but I have
know
a feeling the chat is probably going to side with GoldenEye.
it's
Like,
because
I missed
not.
out on GoldenEye, unfortunately. That was something I missed out on.
I almost missed out on it because I take that back. I was 15 and I was actually in my first year of high school, and unfortunately, Columbine happened, and my one of my parents kind of believed what the media was saying, and
Video games bad.
yeah, and they have a long conversation about they decided to get it, but they're like, yeah, it's just thank you, media.
Yeah. We got Forking Round topping in. Hello, Forking Round. Good to see you. I'm skipping a bit of chat because I will get back to that briefly. But yeah, I will take any chance I get to shill for Perfect Dark because it was criminally underrated because it came out after GoldenEye as a spiritual successor to it because it was built by the same company, used the same assets, but
Yep,
everything
rare.
they did in GoldenEye, they did better in Perfect Dark, and it didn't sell anywhere near as well. So I will sing the praises of the original Perfect Dark every chance I get.
At this point, is it shilling or is it simping? I think we crossed the line.
Both.
Yes.
I will gladly freely do both for Perfect
Especially
Dark.
because it's a female character, it might be more
That
closer to
too.
simping.
That yes, because
Understandable.
I think on episode 1 of Party Chat we talked about first video game crushes, and mine
Yeah,
was Joanna Dark.
yeah,
So
yeah, we did. That's
I'll concede that point to you definitely.
I think it's come up for everyone that we've done almost. Like there's always the ones that like GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Knights of the Old Republic. Like there's these certain games that always come up every one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for me, I've mentioned this on, I don't know if I've mentioned it on Party Chat, but I have mentioned it on other streams. But a criminally underrated movie-based game, and it was a great game, and was far better than the movie it was based on. Was the X-Men Origins Wolverine game? Was
Hmm.
awesome. I'm pretty sure it was from Raven, who at the time they couldn't do anything wrong. They were an awesome studio. Oh, I'm typing in Raven. I need to type in Wolverine. Dum dum.
Don't think I've ever heard of that one, to
Yeah,
be
it
honest.
was published by Activision but developed by Raven. And they during that time, it came out in 2009. Everything Raven did around that time was like top tier. So it was a hack and slash game as you would expect, and it was brutal. It was rated M. You're tearing people's limbs off. You're shoving people's heads into helicopter blades. It was awesome. So that's a great game or movie-based video game that often doesn't get recognized, except for on lists of great movie-based games. That's usually on there. So that's my number one pick, but a couple others that I want to shout out. As we mentioned, GoldenEye is a great movie-based game. More so nostalgia because it's, first-person shooters from that era haven't aged very well, but a lot of us have a lot of nostalgia for it. A game that I talked about on my episode 1 of Top 5 a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Metroidvanias is another game that was way better than the movie it was based on, and was way better than it had any right being, was the Mummy Demastered game. I actually started playing that again after that stream because I was talking about it. I'm like, I haven't played that game in a long time. I'm going to go back and play through it again. So I've been playing it here and there, and it's very, very reminiscent of Super Metroid. And it's a great Metroidvania. It's a pixel art game. It came out in like I think it came out after the terrible Mummy movie with Tom Cruise. It's based on that, but very lightly. Like Russell Crowe is the guy you talk to over the radio, and that's about its only real connection to it. But that's a great movie-based game, as well as someone in chat. I'll highlight it right here. I totally forgot about it until he mentioned it. The Star Wars Episode 3 game was awesome. That was a really good game. Unfortunately, it's not backwards compatible. I have the disc, but I have nothing to play it on.
That sucks.
It was,
I forgot about the Phantom Menace video game came out that was based off the movie.
I never played that one, so
that was probably the second one I actually got. We had a computer that could barely play it, and I mean when I say barely, I mean barely.
right.
And it. I never got a chance to finish it as a kid. I'd love to go back and replay it. But what's up there, Wade?
Oh, Wade's hopping in. What's up, Wade? Oh, the Tron Legacy, if that's what you're referring to. I played that a couple years ago. That was a pretty decent game. But yeah, the Star Wars Episode 3 game was really great. It did have some changes to the movie. Like there is a big fight between Anakin and Mace Windu in the game, which obviously doesn't happen in the movie. But that was a great game. And it had a really awesome Street Fighter-like fighting mode. It had no online, so it was only like, couch versus, but you could play against bots. And I don't like fighting games, but I had a lot of fun playing that against the AI. And my main on the multiplayer in that game was Sin Dralik. He was pretty awesome. But yeah, so we'll go back through a couple of mentions here in chat. Tim Sock had a couple. The Aladdin game. I did have that on Super Nintendo. I played my friend's Genesis version. I was jealous of his because the Genesis version had the sword and the Super Nintendo version did not. But I've heard from most people that the Super Nintendo version is better. But I'll have to take their word for it because I never actually played the full Genesis version. Space Jam, I don't remember, or Toy Story. Avatar. Oh yeah, Harry Potter. Although that the Harry Potter Legacy was the biggest selling game of last year. It's based on the lore of Harry Potter, but it's not based directly on the movie, so that would kind of be iffy on whether it would count. But I know a lot of people.
Is there maybe a previous Harry Potter game that we don't know about? Because
there could be.
I don't know a lot about.
I've seen so many at this point that I just kind of blur them all together.
I don't know much about the Harry Potter franchise.
I'm just not a Harry Potter fan, so I don't really care. I saw the first movie when I was like 16 years old.
Maybe the Harry Potter Lego game?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I just remember my parents like, oh, we're taking your sister. My sister's younger than me to see Harry Potter, and I got off work at Taco Bell. I was in high school. And I met them there, and I was still in uniform. And I remember watching it, and I'm like, the hell is this?
And he's also saying that Matriel, I hope I'm saying that right, Madagascar, and the Harry Potter games, and of course GoldenEye.
Apparently that must be.
Yeah, there must be some other Harry Potter games that I don't know about since I don't know very much. I haven't even seen all the movies. And Spartacus keeps pressuring me like, dude, you got to watch them all. I'm like, I don't really have much interest in it. But Static coming in and saying that the Lord of the Rings 2 Towers PS2 game is the best movie game ever. I've heard a lot of good stuff about some of the Lord of the Rings games.
I have that game.
That one, and there's another one. I think it was the Return of the King game, or
there's a Return of the King too. The only one that there's not is basically Fellowship. The first movie. Yeah, there's no Fellowship game.
I think
there's a lot of these games that I got to see some. Oh, sorry. There's a lot of these games that I got to see somebody else playing for a little bit, but I never really got into it because, like, at the time, like if they're playing anything on PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that, to me it was like, oh my god, these people are rich. I would never be able to like play these, and so basically a lot of what I know from these games that are like post N64. It's like there was like a dark age for me in games there where I didn't get to play any of these. So I only know of them from watching other people play them and being like just mind blown. Just these graphics.
I do remember playing a Lord of the Rings game on 360. I played the demo, and you're defending Minas Tirith. I don't know if that was the episode 3 game, because I know there was another one I think that was pretty popular called War for the North or something. That might have been an RTS. I don't. I've not actually played any Lord of the Rings games other than the. I can't mention this because it's not based on a movie, but I really enjoyed the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games. Those were pretty fun. But they're not based on the movie. They're just based on the lore, kind of like the Harry Potter game.
More like a spin-off sort of thing.
Yeah. But those were good games, just not based directly on the movie. But they're supposed to take place between The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. They took a lot of liberties with the lore, with Sexy Shelob in the second one. But I did enjoy those games. And Tim's talking saying that the Cobra Kai game is great. Yeah. Forking Rounds, GoldenEye. There was a Wii version. That's right. I never played the Wii version.
I never knew there was a Wii version either. Wow.
Yeah, I think I actually have the Wii version. I just never got around to playing it.
Isn't the Wii version the one that came out on the PS3 and they kind of redid it with Daniel Craig?
I think so. That sounds
I think it is, yeah.
accurate.
Which I haven't for the
controls
PS3.
work anything like Prime? Ooh.
I mean, it is a fun game, but literally all the levels have been obviously remastered. They just put Daniel Craig in it. It is a fun game, but it just, again, the nostalgia of the old one. I don't know, for some reason, just that boxiness.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I do own that one. I haven't finished that one yet.
Maybe when I hook my Wii up, I'll play through that game again, assuming I still have it. I don't even know if I still have it. But Forking Around and saying the episode 3 game is the Killing Padawan Simulator. You're not wrong. And Melee K is saying, "Yo, what's up, K? Good to see you."
Yo.
She was on her. She almost had an aneurysm on her Mario ranking streams because Mario is like one of her biggest things, and our picks were just like making her head explode. So that was, like I said earlier, it was a fun stream. I definitely recommend going back and watching it from Thursday night.
I would just like to say, Power Couch Nation.
Power Couch. Oh, and Tommy's here as well. What's up, Tommy? Good to see you, buddy. We still got to connect at sometime. We'll make it happen. So, all right. Let's see here. We're at 37. So for next topic, this one was inspired from a stream I was watching a few weeks ago of my good buddy Nerdporial Lifeform, who I've not seen in the chat yet, but he'll often hop in here. And he had Matt Cave Gaming on his Chillporial. I've not yet had a chance to connect with Matt Cave Gaming either. I'm hoping to get him on at some point so we can talk games. But anyways, they were on a stream, just kind of like open mic is, where you just talk about video games. And one of them, I forget which one, but I'm crediting them, and it came from that stream. Is they were talking about what games need a remaster. And I thought that was a great question. I put in chat, I'm like, hey, I'm stealing that from Party Chat, but I'll give you credit. So shout out to those guys for giving me the inspiration for this question. I was wondering from you guys, what games do you think need a remaster? And when because I have a separate question for a remake, I am talking about a remaster where basically the entire game stays the same. It's just like up-resing the graphics to like modern day, maybe a couple of little quality of life tweaks, like maybe changing like the UI or how the menus go, not like a remake of the game where it's built from the ground up and it's been inspired by the original game, because I'm going to have that as a separate topic for another Party Chat.
I see.
But what is a game? So sorry if I didn't clarify that when I gave you these questions and this kind of just screwed up your answers. But I'm wondering from you guys what you think some games that are in need of a remaster.
You probably know my answer, and thank God the remake was canceled.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because F that piece of garbage. Knights of the Old Republic.
Just because I can guess what it is.
Yeah, if they updated the graphics and leave the combat alone, they're like, oh, we're gonna update the combat. No, stop it, stop it right now.
Why do you need a narrative writer for remastering a game that was fantastically written 20 years ago? You don't.
Also, it got leaked that they're bringing in the obviously the original voice actress for Bastila to. Well, it's like there's thousands of hours of dialogue. What are you doing? Like, you think we're stupid,
Hill, right?
Like, yeah. They thought they thought we were stupid. It's like, no, you're gonna have her reread lines and you're gonna change stuff. So no.
Yeah.
But thank God it's dead.
Agreed. A remaster where they just update the graphics. I'm there with you. We might as
Yeah.
well rope KOTOR 2 into that as well.
I would agree. You know why? Because if they did that, then we might actually officially get Knights of the Old Republic 3 and finish the trilogy. Because look, the Old Republic's a great game. It's not Knights of the Old Republic 3. Again, y'all can eat
Yeah.
a bag eat a bag on that one. We'll just say that. I censored myself because it wasn't gonna be nice.
Yeah. So as we were mentioning earlier, yeah, KOTOR is one of the games that comes up nearly every stream because
It's my absolute favorite, and I think Neo would agree with that pretty easily.
yeah, that's his favorite. And yeah, that I figured that was probably gonna be your answer. And yeah, I agree with you that I'm glad that because that was gonna be a remake. I'm not gonna call that on a remaster because they were drastically gonna
Oh
change
yeah,
things.
they
So
were
I'm
gonna screw it all up.
glad that that's on ice. But yeah, if we got an actual legitimate remaster of just up-resing the graphics, because that was one thing I asked Mark on one of our party chats a while ago, because he knows more about like the logistics of background stuff on making games. I was like, would they need to bring in the people to re-record the lines to get better audio quality? He's like, no, you could take all the existing audio from the original games and you could up-res it in like whatever they kind of like what they do with where they make super old movies and they make them in 4K. They just up-res
Yep.
the graphics. They don't
Right.
re-record the movie. You can do the same thing for audio. And Mark said you would not need to get people back. You can just up-res it all behind the scenes, and you could do it without re-recording anything. So, yeah, definitely they could remaster it, and I'm glad
There's gonna be some shenanigans on that one.
but yes, excellent choice. What about you, Shred? Do you have anything that
The
needs
main
a
thing that comes to mind,
remaster?
yeah, because the main thing that comes to mind for remaster is the first OG God of War. I would love
Okay.
to see like it just like modern graphics. This one of the first PS2 games that I actually got to play when I finally got a PS2. And this one, I mean, just because of the brutality of the combat, and then there's of course that quick time event towards the beginning of the game that I was like, oh, we're so naughty that we're playing this, but that if that whole game was just
Here he is, Paul.
leave
Power
everything
couch.
alone, all the dialogue, all the brutality of it, everything, just leave it alone. Yeah, just make it look awesome. I
No,
think that will be
What's up, Paul? Power Couch.
yeah,
yo
I think
yo.
that'd be so awesome if they actually because there's three originals, right? It's been a long time. There's three originals.
Yeah,
God of War-
I did not play the third. I only played the first and second, but yeah, there's a third one.
yeah, and then of course
Before
there's there's the two new ones. So technically there's five. But yeah, the original
then there's also
three.
like Chains of Olympus and
That was
Ascension.
a
There was some
PSP
for the
game, I think.
PSP, I think. Yeah.
Mark did
Okay.
I'll put it in afterwards, but Mark did a great like summary of the entire God of War franchise. He did I watched it a while ago, but it was like at least an hour, if not like 2 hour video where he sums up the entire franchise. It's a great video. So if you want
If I
to,
could find the original three, I'd definitely play them because I only played the first, but I had a friend who played the second and third. So we were roommates at the time, and so I actually got to kind of see how, because those were
Yeah.
closer towards like like the 360 days, right? I think
Mhm.
the second and third one. Um, I don't think they'd ever remaster that. They would try to get their grubby little paws so far up that game's butt, especially because the original creator's a psycho.
yes, that is true.
Man,
God, he was on
like,
side
I would just
scrollers.
love to see that, especially after because of like what's the last one, Ragnarok. If right after this one they just have a remaster of the original, and you just see the stark contrast of just how wildly different Kratos is, and that's what I want to go back to because I was watching some gameplay of Ragnarok. And just like that's not Kratos, man. Well, look how they did my boy. They did him dirty. Like I just want to see this freaking brutal mass freaking killer on the battlefield. Like that's what I was there to see. It just the Greek mythology, all the monsters and everything. I just found that so fascinating. Really got me hooked.
But yeah, Mark did a great video on it, so I'll link it afterwards. If anyone wants to go check it out, it was a great video. I am there with you. I would totally love a remaster of those games because I am a huge hack and slash fan. I've never played any of the God of War games because I never had a PlayStation. I do now that I've got a PC that can because my PC that I'm on now, I just got up and running a few months ago, and it's pretty beefy. I built it with the intention of gaming on it. I do own
Nice.
God of War 2018 on Steam, but I've never played any of the older God of War games, and I would love to. They're not on Steam, and of the ones that even are on PlayStation that are even like backwards compatible, I think only like 3 is. I don't even think you can play 1 and 2 without actually playing like on
Mm.
original hardware. So I would love to see that. Hopefully, it would come to Steam, but that might be something that would get me to buy a PlayStation, even if they brought it to just PlayStation, because I would love to play through the original God of War games. So that's
Oh,
good.
they're
Good
great
pick. Good pick.
because
That's
they're
at this
hack and
point.
slash, but they also have the whole system of you have certain powers that you can choose to upgrade, and you have you know that decision making
Got some
sort of
RPG elements in it.
resource. Yeah, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
got
it's very
that
in depth.
element to it. It's great.
Yeah, it's very in depth. I mean, it's at the point that like all these games that you can't really find anymore because of not necessarily that maybe there's just not a desire. But I don't know if that's true. That maybe because they're problematic. I'd rather just like try to find an
Mm.
emulator and play it off a computer. Like because
That's not a bad idea.
yeah, because I'm wanting to play Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2. Those games would even be considered problematic because the ladies who basically are kind of like they take you through the game, right? They're kind of like your guide. Well, there's like a romance base to that, and like women would be can't they need to be strong women, and it's like okay, whatever. In like because there's at some point, right? I think in the second game that the girl, I think it's Brooke Burke or something like that. She's like running from somebody, you have to save her and crash the guy trying to crash her. Yeah, like I don't know, dude. Like, yeah, I think at this point it'd just be easier to get an emulator.
Yeah,
Mm.
they could find something to be offended over on literally anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because then the other thing too with older games, it's like if you can't get them from the company itself, like if you're buying them used, it's not like you're really like you were saying, like if you're emulating them, it's not like they're not for sale anymore unless you find somebody that happens to have it anyway. So like
Yeah,
at that, it kind of becomes like a problem just getting it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
If
think it's
Mark
a
was
cop.
here,
It's not worth over 100.
if Mark was here today, that probably would have set him off on like a 10-minute tangent, because especially like Nintendo is the biggest facilitator of this, because it's like people want to give you money to play your older stuff, and there's
Mhm.
literally no way to do it without buying
Yeah.
because
Unless you
they
pay,
don't.
what is it, like $30 a month for the Nintendo premium
Well,
thing?
that's a good alternative, but like you don't
thirty
own
dollars
those
a month,
games.
dude.
You have to rent your access to them. So there's no way
Yeah,
to play them on modern hardware without renting them. You can't buy them. It's like
I
people want
mean,
to give you money and you're not allowing them to. So people are gonna, pirate and emulate, and then they shut down the emulation and stuff. It's like
mhm.
take what these people have built, give them money, and have them develop it for you
Well, also a lot of
and
time
make everyone happy.
they'll hit people's streams with copyright claims for playing their game and like, bro, I bought the game. Like, get out my face.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
this is free marketing for you. They're so
yeah,
out of the loop. But Nintendo's gonna Nintendo.
yeah.
I think
They're the
it's a
smartest and
bureaucracy
the
problem too. Just
yeah.
however things look on paperwork,
They're
that's
the
one of the things
smartest.
that always gets me.
They're the smartest and the dumbest video game company that probably out there.
Yeah.
That's remind
So
me of
what I call the engineer syndrome. They're very smart. They figure out how to put some amazing things together,
book
but the
smarts.
lack of common sense,
No
the
street
lack of common
smarts.
sense is truly something to behold.
Yeah, book smarts, no street smarts. It's kind of like that
Yep.
that scene from iRobot. You are the dumbest smart person I know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Apparently, you can buy the PS3 God of War Saga collection for about $40
That's not
on
too bad.
eBay.
But
That's
yeah,
not bad.
let's get the hardware for it. So if I'd love to see them bring it to Steam, but that might be something that get me to get an PlayStation, because it would have to be, because the one thing that I've been holding out because I really want to play it, but it's only been on PlayStation, and it got an announcement for Steam release this week, is Ghost of Tsushima. So I am stoked. I'm gonna finally be able to play that.
Oh yeah, no,
That game
that's
looks really cool. I have not gotten a
yeah.
chance to play that, and it's kind
So
of. I'm tempted. I'm like I said, I'm very cheap when it comes to buying games.
me too.
And like this is
Oh
one of
yeah.
the ones where I'm really tempted. I want
I
to jump in
haven't
on
bought
this.
a full price game at launch since Destiny in 2014.
Yeah,
So
I about to
this
say I always
might
wait for them to
get
be
me
like
to buy it
60,
on launch
65% off.
at full price, because I'm very much looking forward to play this game. It launches on May 16th, so I am
Well, it was
amped for
such a
that.
big hit that like they announced they're like we'll be porting it to Steam, but it's going to take us about a year. So yeah,
I'm
this has been
perfectly fine with
yeah,
that. I'm
well
patient.
it means they're going to actually take their time and try to make sure that it works properly. Some of the ports don't work.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead, or not Left 4 Dead, Last of Us. That PC port
Yeah.
was terrible. Um, But
Well, like Fallout 3, I have on Steam, but it won't work on my PC, and I can't figure out why. And
The hell?
apparently, there's different YouTube videos of different ways to get it to work but it usually only works for that person in their specific computer. So it's
Yeah,
like
and that's one
it's
of the
kind
things that drives me up the wall trying to play on PC.
that's
yeah.
one of
I
the
can't
things
get
that
Hades to
console
work
has.
properly.
You
Like
play
it worked fine before, and then all of a sudden the audio just cuts off completely, and I
Well,
have no idea what to do.
yeah.
It's just
It's nonsensical, especially because Fallout 3 there's a PC
there's a
version.
games for
Like,
Windows Live version.
yeah, so all you have to do is update it for modern Windows 11. Like, Windows 10, Windows 11. Yes, I know there's a difference because this computer being a little bit older, Windows 10, this one Windows 11, right? No, actually I take that back. It's my old computer. Sorry, this one's Windows. But anyway, yeah, so like because I have three computers. I still have my old one and I just dick around and anyway. Um yeah, it's so frustrating when you pay money for these games. You're like, "Hey, it doesn't work."
That is one of
yeah.
the points in favor of console gaming is like as long
Mhm.
as the game is available because they do delist them and then you can't buy them anymore. But when you do have them, they work. You don't have to worry about figuring out how to get it to run.
Yeah,
It'll run, but don't
that,
regardless of what platform you're playing on, you will always have to worry about whether the game works properly. But that's up to the developers. You just don't have
that's one of the things that
getting it
I'm
to run.
going to get into later. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
It's-
So for my pick and the inspiration for this question, because this is one that I've had on my list from way before I started my channel, and someone in chat already mentioned it. Uh, Ocarina of Time, one of my
yeah,
favorite games of all time. Because there are people who have remade parts of the game in Unreal Engine 5, and it looks amazing. If they did a full Unreal Engine 5 look and didn't change anything about the original game, I would give
yeah.
you all of my money for that game right now. That is my number one pick for a game that
Well,
is in
that game
desperate
was
need of a
such
That would be
remaster.
awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that game was such a big hit that, like, back when IGN was filled with actual gamers, they made that April Fool's joke about an Ocarina of Time Legend of Zelda video game, and they made that whole, like, spoof trailer that everybody thought was real, and they're like,
Oh,
That sounds
y
familiar. I'm sure I've seen it, but it's probably
I
been so
think we
long
wa
I've forgotten
I
about
think
it.
we watched it on here, like 4 months ago. Because we've been doing this for a while now. Because it
Yeah,
goes every 2 weeks, but
this is what I started my channel with back in
yeah.
July. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I could even pull it up and share it if you guys want to rewatch it. But like now, at the time when it came out, I think it was like 2000 and like
oh yes, I
6.
do remember it now. The live
Yeah,
action one.
yeah, the graphics in today's world are kind of like iffy, but like back in 2006, like everybody's like, like yeah, and it was an April Fool's joke, and they're like, "Wow, IGN, you really got all of us." Like
actually, I don't think I've seen
I was
this.
really. Let me see if I can
Yeah,
find
no,
it,
I don't
dude.
think I've seen this. I'm trying to remember, and I know
I
something's
think I
not
know what
clicking
you're
here.
talking about, but I might be getting mixed up with the different Zelda videos.
Hold
So if
on,
you
I'll
want
be
to,
right back. I'll see if I can find it.
you find
Yeah,
it, I'm
because
gonna.
I've seen a few Zelda things where they've like upped the graphics and stuff like so. So the thing is that I don't know which one is which. It's just random clips I find on like Twitter or whatever.
But
But so yeah, so this specific one you're talking about, I don't think I'm. It's not clicking. It's not ringing a bell.
yeah, I can't believe they haven't done. I mean, they did the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, but that doesn't really
Yeah,
count.
that's not good enough for me.
I
No.
want like a full blown, like next generation, amazing looking, more
Yeah,
polygons, higher resolution, but it plays exactly the same.
yeah.
I would
Like if
kill for
anything,
that.
like you've said before, maybe some quality of life improvements because you got more buttons now, and on a
Exactly.
controller that has a reasonable shape to it. But
Yeah,
the stuff
I
like that
found
is like
it.
sure.
I've never played the
You
3DS
got it?
version of Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
but one of the nice quality of life improvements they made was in the original one, your iron boots you have to pause and turn them on and off, which is
Yeah,
annoying for the
that.
water temple because you're putting them on and off all the
Yep.
time. So they actually made it an item you can equip, so you don't have to pause it all the time. So stuff like that,
Right.
I'm okay with.
Yeah.
So all right, let's see what.
Yeah, so this is 15 years old. It's got 6.1 million, 18. Sorry, yeah, 6.1 million views. 46,000 likes, 3.1 thousand dislikes because yeah, it was an April
People were
Fool's Day,
mad.
and they didn't label it at the time April Fool's Day. They just said
Oh,
Legend of
Bruh.
Zelda. Yeah, so this is it. But
Oh.
no, for 15 years ago, it looks really good.
and did you share audio?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah,
I
not hearing
did.
audio.
I'm a doofus. Ugh, I'm not used to restream. Sorry, guys. Let's try that again. You goober. Also share
I
the
had a
app. No,
feeling.
yeah, it should have been on.
Okay. I hadn't heard anything yet. Maybe there was no sound. I was just wondering if you shared audio.
Okay,
So
let's try it again here real fast.
it might just be a quiet intro.
Yeah, maybe just
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
There it is.
Spartacus, way to goof up.
Hey, there he is.
I'm taking the
Spartacus.
to Castletown
What's up,
Market,
Spartacus?
and you're coming with me. Now mind your manners and do what I say. Speak to no one. And for goodness sake,
I've not seen this. This is different than what I thought.
Yeah, no, I have not seen this one.
I've been waiting for you, Link. You've been kept safe, guarded by a secret race.
We did this 15 years ago.
This very day.
Yeah.
Kingdom of High.
Well, we're getting a live-action Zelda movie sometime.
Nothing can stop the evil.
Oh,
that's crept
I'm afraid.
inside these walls.
I think I talked about that at length with Shaka Zulu on open mic a month or
Oh,
two
okay.
ago.
When these doors open again, it will be 7 years in the past. Find me again.
I welcome the hero of time.
That's what I thought too. I was like, he does look like Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, it is well
Okay,
before
the
Jesse
Gozo looks
Eisenberg.
awesome.
Hero of time, face
This was done 15
Nice.
years ago.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
That
They
was pretty good.
spoofed everybody. Like everybody was like,
I bet, yeah.
That was giving me the
No,
chills.
I
I'm
actually
like,
really
yeah.
like how
I
they
know.
did a really good job with his outfit, with the chainmail
Yes.
and everything. Like the other ones looked like Zelda, and the other one, like they looked really cosplay-ish, like more obvious. But like even Link's now it would still look pretty good. Like with because they actually made like real leather and all that stuff.
yeah,
But,
yeah, no,
and
it
then
was
just the way that the Goma look is, that's actually part of the inspiration with some of like my design stuff that I've done. Because like I really like that spider look, and even like my freaking tattoos, like based off of the Skulltula too. So
Oh,
it's like I'm
nice.
a big fan of all that. Yeah,
no,
yeah, that's one of the
man.
games that really got me there.
They let it go for a full day too. They dropped it on April
Oh,
1st.
man.
Nobody was even paying attention. They didn't, and it was
People
such a
wanted
big
to
deal.
believe. And
It
they let
was
them-
such
Yeah,
a
I
big
bet.
deal. They had to come out and say, guys, it's a joke. It was for April Fools. People
Oh,
were
the tears,
floored.
the tears.
Floored. Yeah. No, that's the best fake trailer I've ever seen.
Yes.
It to
That
date.
looks good. So Shred, so you're a big Zelda fan?
Yeah, it's probably, I would say maybe between, I would have to rank it maybe like, it bumps up and down between like second and third out of like my rankings.
Your
Because number
favorite
one is Metroid.
franchises?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like,
Good
so
answer.
like Metro, that's my favorite genre is Metroidvanias.
Yes.
But then like,
My
but third
best
and
friend. We
second,
just
it's,
become best friends.
there you go. Third and second are between Zelda and Fire Emblem. So like they all seem to be Nintendo games. It just worked out that way.
All right, well, we have some
He might propose,
extras.
right?
Yeah.
We got some stuff to talk about after the stream then.
Yeah.
So excellent. All right, let's see here. A couple other mentions. JT Pixel says Chrono Trigger with Octopath Traveler graphics, and I'm all in. I've not played either of those because I'm not big on JRPGs, but I do know that those are both very popular games. So I would be all for that too, just because it would make so many people happy. And yeah, Kay is agreeing with us. Leave KOTOR alone at this point because they wouldn't do it justice. So, all right, good stuff. So, let's see here. 9:30. For our next topic, this might go quick. I don't know. Maybe it'll lead to another tangent. Who knows? But this one was inspired by, speaking of Metroidvanias, a very, very popular Metroidvania. I've talked about it a few times before. It's one that I am not a huge fan of. So it inspired a question in me for what's a game that you really wanted to like and had trouble liking it or just end up couldn't liking it. So for me, the inspiration is as everyone who's been around my channel knows, I'm huge on Metroidvanias. We just when we started our top 5 stream a couple weeks ago, episode 1 was about Metroidvanias. And one of the one that people often mention as like the top tier of the Metroidvania franchise is Hollow Knight. I've played probably about 6 to 8 hours of Hollow Knight, and every time I play it, I have to force myself to play it. It just does everything that irks me, and I do not enjoy it. I will be playing through it in its entirety at some point. I will force myself to do it, but I played it probably about 6 to 8 hours, and I have to drag my feet playing it because I've not enjoyed like a minute of it the entire time I play it. And I want to like it because of how many people rant and rave about the game, but I just can't. It just irks me in like every way. So I'm not a big fan of Hollow Knight from what I've played so far, but everyone rants and raves about it, and I just cannot get into it. So I'm wondering from you guys, is there a game that you really wanted to like and just had trouble liking it, or you ended up, you know what, this is not for me?
I'm honestly trying to think. I'm like a massively picky gamer though. Unless something really like just kind of claws at me. Um, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know if I can actually give me a chance to think about that one.
Yeah,
Spartacus is
I got
coming
one in mind already.
He said,
Okay, cool.
no clue what it is, but $10. Well, I'm gonna be playing Hollow Knight at some point. I do own it because I one thing I do mention often is that my goal is I'm going to play all the Metroidvanias on Xbox. I own most of them. I played a lot of them, but I still have a lot to get through. So I will be playing it definitely. But yeah, so far it hasn't gripped me yet because there are a lot of other Metroidvanias I've played, and I'm hooked like 5 minutes in. And I played 6 to 8 hours of Hollow Knight, and I have not enjoyed like a minute of it. So, Shred, I'm curious to hear what your answer is while we give Ryan some
So
think.
Yeah, so this is a very recent experience I had, and it kind of ties in a little bit to why I think it's going on with you and Hollow Knight, because Hollow Knight is one of my top games too.
Okay,
but I played this game recently, and it felt like a slog to complete, and I really wanted to like it. It's called Hellpoint.
Oh, I have that game, but I have not played it yet.
Hellpoint was my introduction to Soul-style games. Yeah, and I have not. And the thing is that playing that, it's like I saw the elements that tied into like Hollow Knight, because Hollow Knight, a lot of people refer to it as 2D Dark Souls, because that's the thing where like when you die, you go back to the checkpoint, you go to where you died to collect your, to refill your soul or whatever, but you have to fight like your ghost, and like, so it kind of has those elements to it. Like I guess like Dark Souls and those games have that type of mechanic as well. So, and the reason I picked up Hellpoint was because our buddy JM actually flew over here from Florida, and we went video game just shopping at like these old game stores and stuff. And I'm not really, like I said, I'm very cheap when it comes to games. So if I buy something, like it's because it really got my attention. And Hellpoint was, it was the signature edition. It came like the big box and everything. It's for the Switch. And so the way I read it, I didn't do much research into it. I was just like, okay, it looks like I'm getting a deal on it. It looks like this. It has a very, as you said, you have it, so you know how it's got that like Doom / Metroid type of look to it. Oh, it's got like the horror sci-fi theme, and that's kind of what got my attention from it too. And it's like you take Diablo, Doom, and Metroid, and just kind of like mash them together into this I guess ambience. And yeah, so yeah, I started playing it, and I was just dying over and over again. I'm just like, okay, I think I know what this is, and I was okay. I actually got the hang of the combat pretty quickly. Like it was not that terrible, like in terms of like when they called like the difficulty. What really annoyed me about it was just a lot of the quality of life stuff that was just really really annoying or with how it doesn't really give you a whole lot of explanation as to like how your weapons scale and all that, all those sorts of things. You can't really like. It's very unreliable, like testing like certain combos and all like. Which I guess like part of it's like, okay, I can see if it's just a game just wants to throw you in and be like, figure it out. Like, okay, cool. Like sometimes when done right, I can accept that it's fine. The thing to me was that also because this game was on the Switch, it just constantly would like glitch. It would crash between loading screens, and even the loading screens were just took forever. So every time I died, it's not like, you know, it puts you all the way back at a checkpoint instead of like outside of the boss room or something, which, okay, I can forgive that. They want that to be part of the challenge, sure. But I don't want to sit here waiting for this loading screen that just takes forever every single time I die. Like, I would like to be able to keep fighting and keep myself warm and like actually like have a chance to like catch on to this rhythm that you're supposed to catch on to for these types of, you know, fighting mechanics. But yeah, so I feel like it just felt like such a jarring pause to your game when you died and you had to sit there through the loading screen and then you spawn back at the checkpoint and you have to go through fight all the same enemies and do this over and over again. And then eventually it's a combination of you either get the hang of it or you've collected enough souls to upgrade some of your stuff so that you're stronger. And it felt really grindy for that reason, where it's just didn't really give you that chance to just really like zero in on the fight. So I feel like that was just so disruptive. And I don't know if this is common of Souls games, like if that's how they work, or if it's just this one just decided to do it that way. But so yeah, one of my biggest issues was that. The other thing was that, yeah, like if you're in the loading screen, it would crash. You would get a lot of the weapons that you would find. You would think, oh, this looks really cool. Oh, I can't use it because I'm not spec'd in the right stats, because it has like a stat requirement to be able to use it, or stuff like that. And the game doesn't give you the choice to respec. What it does give you, though, it's like the DLC has that option. The DLC is also not available on the Switch version.
Oh, wow, that's just check mark after check mark. It's like nope.
Yeah. And as I was looking online to see what I could do to alleviate the issues with the crashing, I found out that the game was so much worse on release. And they brought out some patches a while ago to quote unquote fix it, but it still runs like absolute dog water. And the thing about this, it's like I just have like it irks me when they knew that this game didn't work and they wanted the cash grab and released it anyway. It's like if you couldn't get it to work, why either release it later or, you know, like, yeah, it's that whole thing about them like, yeah, just release it now, get the cash, and then, you know, if you feel like it, just work on patch it later. Like, no, like this thing, what apparently it was like near unplayable, and like now it's still just such a pain.
Yeah, it's like, why they even release Cyberpunk on the last gen systems? You shouldn't have done that.
And there was like, I would like to think, okay, maybe the people that played it on Steam or PS5 or PS5 or PS4, I don't know what it came out on, but maybe it ran better on those and it was fine. Who knows? But at this point, I don't care to find out, because I feel like kind of on principle, I'm not just going to give these devs any more money. I'm like, I no. But there was one of the levels that I remember drove me up a wall, because there's like a bunch of tiles, and if you walk over them, if you walk on the wrong tile, you fall to your death. And then you have to wait through the loading screen and just make your way all the way to that point again, fight the same enemies over and over again until you finally get to that spot and try it again. Okay. The way you're supposed to do this is there's like a special quantum light that's kind of like a UV light where you can see symbols on the tiles. And the tile that has the symbol, it's a safe one to step on. Well, as it turns out, I'm one of the lucky winners where my game was just kind of glitched out and the symbols didn't show up.
Oh, no.
So I had to look it up, which ones were supposed to have the symbol on it. And that's how I was able to get past that thing. And that just issues with sometimes the frame rate just tanks when you're in the middle of a fight. If you're going up against multiple enemies and the frame rates just freaking tank, like, well, I'm dead. Or if things like if you're fighting, like, let's say on a bridge and you're trying to lock onto an enemy, so you have to push a control stick in, but it locks onto the wrong enemy, so you push it in again to unlock, and you aim at the enemy you're trying to lock onto, you push in, and it swings back to the other enemy, and it just keeps doing that, and like you just cannot play the game. Or sometimes, like, if you are locked onto the enemy and you're like fighting on a bridge and you try to dodge, but it doesn't like roll in the direction your control stick is going relative to the camera, or even because it was inconsistent when you would roll relative to the camera or relative to where your character was facing. There were some inconsistencies there. So that would mean that if you're trying to dodge an attack, you would just roll off the bridge, die, sit through a half-hour loading screen, make your way all the way to that point again, fight your ghost now, because now the ghost is an additional enemy to the ones where you... It's I feel like a lot of this seems like it's not respectful of your time. And like it's a game that's like, oh yeah, dude, I put 80 hours into this game or something. Like, the game probably should have been maybe like 20 to 30, but all that extra fluff it's just inflating the playtime, because it's making you do the same thing over and over and over again by killing you in the absolute cheapest ways possible. It's not like challenging. So the bosses were boring. They had like the same 2 to 3 attacks that like they would one-shot you, but you took forever to kill them because they have a massive health bar. So once you get the hang of it, it's okay, it's the same 2 to 3 attacks, dodge, roll, attack, back away, regain stamina, dodge, roll, attack. Very repetitive. And eventually I'm just like, I'm at the final boss. I fought him a bunch of times. I got him to a sliver of health before my game glitched out and my character got stuck on like the edge of a platform, because there's like moving platforms in this fight. He got stuck on the edge of that platform somehow, where it just like where the graphics just kind of go like they just kind of shake and your camera shakes, and I couldn't move, and the boss just comboed me out and I died. I just like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't even care enough to finish this game. I'm done.
Just morally defeating you.
Yeah, I just like, yeah, I'm good. This isn't challenging. This is cheap.
Okay, well, fortunately, I didn't buy this game. I ended up winning it through a raffle, so I have not spent any money on it. But I will have to let you know how it goes when I end up playing it somewhere down the line.
What do you have it on?
I have it on Xbox. And
it's probably better on that. Yeah,
I'm assuming so. The estimated completion time is 38 to 45 hours. So I'm assuming it probably runs a lot better, and load times are probably a lot quicker. So
right,
I'll have to get back to you. I won't be playing it anytime soon, but I will play it eventually. So I'll have to let you know how that goes once I get to it.
For sure.
So it doesn't sound kind of like me. It sounds like you don't have a huge background in Souls-like games. Is that right?
No, this would be my. Well, I mean, I guess technically, if you want to count Hollow Knight as a Souls-like, because it has some elements of that, or just how the death mechanic works, where you have to go back to the spot that you died, fight your ghost, pick up your you fight them and it refills your health thing, right? And you collect your whatever the currency is called, I forgot. The thing is that Hollow Knight also has those Metroidvania elements to it as well, So I guess I don't know if you would even count that as a Souls-like, but
in the 3D genre of Souls-likes like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff, you haven't played many or any of those.
No, it's only Hell Points so far.
Okay, yeah, I've played the opening of Dark Souls Remastered. It got past the Asylum Demon. That's one of the ones that I have to go back to. But same, I played a couple of 2D Souls-likes. Like I played some Hollow Knight. I played through the entirety of Ender Lilies, which is also a 2D Souls-like Metroidvania. I have not played Paul's favorite, Salt and Sanctuary, because it's never been on sale on Xbox. And when it goes on sale, I will buy it, but I know that's a Souls-like Metroidvania. But yeah, I've not played any of the 3D Souls-like other than like an hour of Dark Souls. So I was just curious if you were coming from the same kind of direction as me.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Right.
So, Ryan, did we give you enough time to...
I got one.
Out?
All I had to do is go through my Steam library, and you'll understand why. This is going to be a hot take, probably for some people.
Uh-oh.
I do not like the Grand Theft Auto series.
Okay, I'm right there with you. I'm not a fan of anything from Rockstar.
Yeah, well, I'm actually a fan of Red Dead Redemption, the first one and 2. However, I've never been a huge fan of basically playing the bad guy. It's not my style. Now, there is one exception, and there's a reason that Grand Theft Auto 5 is in my Steam library, because there's a mod where you can play the police. And it is probably the most accurate simulator I have actually seen anybody actually do. I do want to play that as somebody who has a background in law enforcement. But no, I don't like the idea of running people over on sidewalks and getting. I mean, it's funny, but it's just not a game I want to play. It doesn't interest me. It's like when these mob movies come out. They're like, "Oh, have you seen The Departed?" I'm like, I don't care. They're like, "It's an incredible movie. What? Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I said I don't care." Like, that's what I meant is I don't care. Like, and then these people, they just look at you like, well, how do you not want to see it? I'm like, I don't like mob movies. Like, I don't care. Like, I like the history of actual American gangsters, like Al Capone, stuff like that. That interests me. Those are real life people, right?
Right.
And I love history, but no, I don't care about watching a movie about vile people be vile people. So I don't care. Yeah, it's so no, the Grand Theft games have never interested me. And the majority of my friends have all played them and loved them. And I'm not saying they're bad games. They just don't interest me
Yeah,
until this one thing.
GTA is one of the biggest franchises in gaming, and
Yeah.
I just
Until that mod came out, and it's not even a mod from the developers. These people who have an interest in doing it differently, like, I was like, that'll play because it looks awesome. I've seen actual guys with like YouTube channels, former military guys, law enforcement guys play the game. And they're like, it's pretty good. It's a lot of fun. There's still a little shenanigans, right? But because you'll accidentally run somebody over, or ram a car by accident. But anyway, yeah, that's the only way I'm going to play GTA 5. And I don't even know, like, I don't know if you have to start the video. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if like you just start the add-on and then it goes to the game, or if you have to play to a certain place in the game, because that'd probably change my opinion on whether or not I play it. Because I don't want to play any of the story.
yeah.
That makes
So-
sense.
Coming as an achievement hunter and a completionist, I'm playing it, working on trying to get all those achievements. And yeah, in the GTA games, I think you have to, if you want to have fun, in my opinion, you have to make your own fun by just doing stuff that nothing related to the story, and there's not going to be any achievement side to it. So like stealing a helicopter and running around, that you can make your own fun for short periods of time, but I just don't think that there's a whole lot, in my opinion, that interests me for spending 80 hours, whatever,
Yeah.
or 100, however people play GTA Online and spend hundreds of hours in that game. So good for them. It's just I wouldn't have the fun with that for other than messing around in the game for a couple hours here and there. I understand. I'm right there with you. So
Yeah,
It's like playing in a little sandbox or something.
I just this is, and I've talked about this before. This is from the person who, like, again, Knights of the Old Republic is my favorite game. You can choose to be a bad guy. I've never done that story. Like, I actually rarely ever do anything bad in that game, to where, like, if there's a point where you can I do the one thing to intimidate to get HK-47, because they want like 5,000 or 6,000 credits for this damn robot. I'll give you half, bro. Like, and that's the only. It's because, like, I'm not giving you all my damn money, but still, it's not like I lobbed the storekeeper's head off, right?
right.
So it's like, yeah, you can choose to run around and just do bad guy stuff. Like, even in the Mass Effect games, I'd rarely do anything renegade. I would do it, but it was usually if somebody's like being a dick and you get a punch them in the face, be like, all right, I was cool with that. But there's also times like, that doing the what's the light side version? I can't think of it. Paragon, thank you. Yeah, that, like, even the Paragon option is to kind of choose to do a little violence, to get through to somebody. So, but
Yeah, I was talking about Mass Effect recently, and on my first playthrough of each game when they were coming out, I made whatever choice that I thought was like right, and then on subsequent playthroughs, I would play through like doing all Paragon choices, and then I do like another playthrough where I did all Renegade. And doing a full Renegade playthrough of all the Mass Effect games was incredibly difficult. It's like I feel so dirty. This makes me feel like a terrible person. It's like I don't want to do this, but I'm dedicated to playing the bad guy, and it was painful.
yeah, no, I think it's just a morality issue, honestly. Again, given my background, like, I can't pick on the little pixelated characters. I can't do it. I don't know why. I guess they're written too well. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of how it is. Yeah, I don't.
To me, the one thing I won't do is be mean to the dog or anything like that. Like, in terms of like story mode and stuff like that, it's like I'm more calloused in that sense, because like I just don't really care. It's like, whatever. But like for some reason, it's like, yeah, if there's It does depend on the character too. If you like the character, you don't want to be mean to him. So when the mean dialogue option comes up, I was like, no.
Yeah.
but so it's like that kind of is part of it. If you actually do get attached to a character that you do like even when I do like even just like my Fire Emblem playthroughs, if one of my units dies, I get so angry because I'm just like, no, like not just because the anger from losing, but also like the anger from like he's gone because it's Fire Emblem, it's permadeath. And like this unit just died, damn it. And I have to like force myself not to restart it because, like, no, we're doing it. Like if I mess up, I mess up, so.
See, I'm the opposite. Like if I know there's a character you can save and I somehow I screw it up and like I will stop and I'll go to the last checkpoint, even if it's an hour ago, because I can't do it. I'll be like, nope, that's not how the story goes. Wrong. Restart. And it's like,
see, that's how I normally did it if I played on my own. It's just that when I was actually streaming it, it's like I think for the sake of stream, we just gotta have to just move forward.
Yeah.
Especially because like the older Fire Emblems don't have that mechanic where like you can rewind some number of turns. Like you have to actually restart the whole chapter. And I'm thinking like, well, like I do want to get through this, but so
I hate checkpoint games. Because I'm the person, I will save like every 20 minutes because I know that if like I screw something up, I'm gonna go back and fix it. Like, something that and so checkpoint games, sometimes you're like your last checkpoint will be 40 minutes ago. And then like if you get killed, you screw up, and it's like checkpoint games drive me crazy. So
rather than ones where you can save just
at will
saves.
Right.
Shoot, I was just going to say something. Speaking of permadeath games, I've not played it, but I know it's a popular one, and Paul has been streaming it recently. Shred, I'm just curious, have you ever played Darkest Dungeon?
Darkest Dungeon? No, I've only watched gameplay because both Paul and JM, like I've seen some of their gameplay of it, and it's a game I am curious to get into. I just think with games like it's really hard for me to find the time to fit all the things that I want to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a game that does look pretty dope.
First world gamer problems.
Yeah, right.
So, all right. So typically we go about an hour and a half. We're getting close to that. And that's usually because Ryan and Mark have somewhere to go. Ryan, do you have...
Not today. I'm good.
Okay. Shred, do you have more time or do you need to get going?
Oh, I can stick around. I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I actually can't I can't be on Screaming Into the Void today. So I got a little extra time.
Cool. Okay.
Sweet.
We'll go into our next one then. So for our next topic, this one probably will be a little bit quicker, but I often say that and we get off on a long tangent, but that's fine.
Always.
That's one of the greatest things. So
that means we're having fun.
I'm curious on wondering if there's any games in your backlog that like you have been meaning to get around to and you just haven't yet, and you're looking forward to getting to it. You just haven't made the time for it yet, or whatever, life gets in the way. It's like, I want to play that game. I just haven't had the time to yet. Anything that you got in your backlog that you're looking forward to playing?
Let me look. Yeah, there's a lot.
So for me, the first thing that I thought of, as we were just talking about a few minutes ago, is the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, because that's a huge time sink. Mass Effect, I obviously is my favorite video game franchise of all time. I have not played through any of the stories in a long time. I do regularly play the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer still to this day. I played it twice in the last week. I love the multiplayer, but I haven't played through the campaigns and any of them in a while. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing through all three of them again, because it's been a number of years. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing that. So wondering...
Is somebody who just recently, not when I say recently, probably about a month ago, bought the Mass Effect Legendary. It was on sale when I bought it for like 60% off. It was an insane price, and I'm like, I got to get that.
It's been on sale quite a few times, so it's gone down to like $10 a couple times already. It's only a couple years old.
Yeah, I think I paid like $12 for it or something like that. It was like 62%, something. But anyway, no, I got a bunch of games that I want to. They still, I know a lot of people probably don't have this, but I started playing my first MMO with Star Wars Galaxies. That's a long time ago. And there was actually another MMO that came out not too long after that, and it was actually Dungeons and Dragons Online. I still have my account, and I still want to try to go through and play that. Like, I know it's been around for the heck did I 2005, 2006-ish? It's been around.
Decades almost.
Yeah, and it's still up and running. Yeah, I can still play it on this computer. Like, my brand new computer. It works better than Fallout 3. So it's like I want to go back and actually play Dungeons and Dragons online just because the nostalgia of it. Because I was like, how old was I? I was like 19-year-old kid when it came out. So yeah, it was like almost 2 decades ago for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's reaching way back, but cool. Yeah, there's some good stuff from back in the day. So
Oh yeah, there is.
what about you, Shred? You got anything in your backlog that you just haven't had a chance to get to that you're looking forward to playing?
The one that came to my mind immediately, it's a game that I've already played a long time ago, because I told you that I do this thing where I replay old. So
Absolutely.
I have Okami HD in my Steam library and that's what I want to get around to at some point, because I think I bought it was a part of a bundle with Monster Hunter Rise, because that's one of the games that I play when Adam and I are playing it on doing like a collab stream or whatever. It's usually Monster Hunter.
Okay.
And it came in this bundle with Okami HD. I think it came with Onimusha and what's the other one? Ace Attorney. So
Okay.
it just came in this bundle for really cheap. So yeah, I saw Okami, and Okami is one of my favorite games. It's another one that I've put on my list of top games
Nice.
ever. And I mean, I haven't played an HD version, so I'm very curious to play that. I've only played it, I think, on not the PlayStation 2. I played it on the Wii.
Okay.
But yeah, but now like I do want to get around to playing this HD version here on Steam and seeing how I can mess around with that, because I remember playing it on the Wii. Like, just I'm a big fan of the sensor bar, because it's not
The motion.
it's not one of those things where the controller necessarily tries to send the signal of what position it thinks. Like, it does have like what's it called, the gyroscopic sensor on it. It actually just reads from where the sensor bar is, because it's got those infrared lights. So you never have to like keep trying to like recenter it or anything like that. It's pretty what would I say? It's stable. And that was the problem that I had when I was playing Metroid Prime on the Switch, the remastered version, when I was trying to do the aim with the motion controllers, because I had to keep zeroing it in. Like, I mean, which once you get the hang of it, it's not bad, but I didn't have that problem when I played the trilogy version. So the reason I bring that up is because with Okami, you have this ability where you can face, right? Let's say you're facing an enemy. Yeah. So it basically, like, the scroll comes down. So you basically see like a picture of what you're looking at. You paint on it with the paintbrush, and depending on what you paint, it does either an attack or some kind of ability. And that's kind of like the Okami gimmick. So a lot of your attacks are going to be like you're slashing with a sword. So you just like hold the button down, scroll comes down, you see a picture of the enemy, you paint a slash strike through them, you let go, and like the sword just manifests and does like a cut. So, and like when you get the hang of how that all works, it's just so great and satisfying. You're running around super fast as this, the dog, the sun god Amaterasu, and what I wanted to see was how this was going to play. Because on Steam, I would assume that it'd be great, because if you're playing with mouse and keyboard, or even just like if I'm playing with mouse and I don't know if it'll let me seamlessly switch between mouse and controller the way that Diablo did, which was another thing that I'd like to mess around with. Because when it comes to playing games on Steam, I'm very weird about setting up keybinds and stuff. Because like some games I like using a controller, other games have to use specifically either the PS5 or the Xbox controller, or mouse and keyboard with the Tartarus, whatever. Like I love experimenting with that kind of stuff until I get exactly what I like, Nice. So, and with Okami, it's one of those where I just really like, I can't wait to get around to play that. And because I never really thought about playing this on Steam and seeing if there's going to be any mods for it as well at some point. And it's like already just the basic version. It's already one of my top games ever. So I can't wait to see what this is going to offer as well.
I've heard nothing but good things about that game. I've owned it on Xbox as well. I bought it when it was on sale for a couple bucks, just because I've heard nothing but good things about it. So that's in my backlog. I'll be getting to it at some point. Yeah, and I hope it lives up to the reputation that I've heard from other people. So a couple others that I've got on my backlog is, we were talking about Metroid. I love Metroid. Metroidvania is my favorite genre. I've not played Dread yet because I don't have a Switch. So
you'll love it.
Get a Switch, dude.
Yeah, so I've been holding out, waiting for because Nintendo games rarely go on sale. So back in
Yeah.
December, there was a decent sale on a bunch of Nintendo games. So I actually bought Dread, but I don't have any hardware to play it on yet. So because I've been waiting for
Look.
an announcement on the Switch 2, because
Yeah, I can
I'm
see that.
expecting it to
Yeah.
be backwards compatible.
What up
But
there, John?
we've been
John.
looking for an
He
announcement
said bum.
of anything. um you guys are distracting me because back in like November there was a lot of rumors that we'd get an announcement like in March, and so that's right about now. But all the rumors now say that if it is even going to come out this year, it probably won't be until holiday time if it doesn't come out the year after. So I was hoping we'd have some more news by now, so I may bite the bullet and get an aftermarket Switch before the Switch 2 comes out, because I am very much looking forward to play Dread.
Yeah, Spartacus nerdy. What is 2 + 2?
So Vanquish, what's up, Vanquish? Neo, why are you letting that bum Ryan on the show?
That's what I was laughing at.
So
Yeah,
Vanquish tweeted me the other day because it got announced, because we often talk about Ghost of Tsushima and coming to PC. And so when we got the announcement the other day, he's like, dude, it's coming. I was like, yeah. So and then one other that a Metroidvania, I played the demo and I am waiting for it to go on sale because I have patience and I am cheap, and I've heard nothing but good things, despite the hate that it got when it was announced. Is the new Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. I loved the demo. All my friends who played it said it's great. It got a lot of hate when it was first announced because from the fan base. I've never really had any nostalgia for the Prince of Persia franchise, so it wasn't like I wasn't upset about it. I was hooked from the moment I saw the announcement, and then when I played the demo, I loved it. So I'm very much looking forward to playing that once it goes on sale. It's a Ubisoft game, so it shouldn't be that long because Ubisoft games go on sale pretty quick. But that's another one that I'm really looking forward to playing.
Yeah, but I'm a
they
big fan of
recommended that game to
franchise.
me as well. It looks pretty fun. Like I was just confused when I saw that. Like it wasn't like hate; it was just more like confusion because I did really like. I never played the original Prince of Persia, but I played 2 and 3, and I'm used to that character, right? He's like even like Prince of Persia 2, how it's got freaking Godsmack playing as like its soundtrack and stuff like that, and then like this new Prince of Persia just looked like it had nothing to do with it at all. So with me, it was more confusion, like wondering if it's going to be anything even related or what is it. So, but apparently it's really good. And one of my other buddies told me like, yeah, dude, if you like Metroidvanias, dude, you should really try this game out. So I'm kind of there with you on that one.
Yeah, most of the hate for it was coming from a lore and story standpoint, and the fact that you're not playing the prince. But once people got their hands on it, I've heard nothing but good things, and I love the demo, so I'm definitely looking forward to playing that one.
I'm a big fan of the franchise, so I'll probably give it a shot. Hell, I even liked the Disney movie. I know that's probably a hot take, but
I saw it and I don't remember anything about it other than I remember Jake Gyllenhaal and Ben Kingsley were in it.
It was actually a really good movie, and because again, it was a video game adaptation, which have not always been the most successful.
Just like we were talking about earlier, movie-based games are terrible, and game-based movies are usually terrible. Movie-based games are basically, they both have a reputation of being terrible.
Yeah. No, they usually have a reputation for being terrible, but I still think it holds up. 2008, Jake Gyllenhaal did a great job, and I mean, I recommend anybody go watch it. I think it's good.
So, all right. Cool. All right, and then last one for the day is as I mentioned on not the last party chat, because that was kind of a special episode, but the last regular episode, I said that I'm going to be sprinkling in like one of these type of questions in each episode is either your favorite game from a certain console or generation or year or decade or genre or something like that. So the last one was favorite game from the 4th generation, which would have been the Super Nintendo Genesis era. So this week I wanted to talk, just briefly go over favorite games from the 5th generation, which was N64, PS1, Sega Saturn era. So curious on what your guys, if you even have one. I don't know, Shred, if that was kind of during your video game dark age, or not. But if you have one from that generation, I'm curious on what your favorite game from that generation is.
Yeah, so that one I'm kind of blanking on a little bit because it wasn't at this point. I did have an N64 and played it. It was just it was still during that I couldn't really get whatever game I wanted. It was just kind of those like whatever game I had, I would just play the hell out of. And this game that for some reason just stands out to me, even though like in retrospect it looks kind of bad, is Quest 64.
Never played it, but I know of
games.
Mm-hmm.
So Quest 64, like I played it because my cousins had it, and like I only got to play whenever I went to go visit my cousins, and it was one of those games where we couldn't really get past a certain point because we just had no idea what to do. Right? It just, you talk to people and you just see gibberish on the screen, and then you just kind of move around.
You got
JT knows.
JT's like, yeah, it's Quest 64.
Yeah. But then later on, eventually got a little bit older. And then when I actually got my hands on, like, my parents actually got me an N64, and that was a freaking huge deal. And I got my hands on a copy of Quest 64 and I played it. And by this time, I kind of knew what I was doing a little bit more. Not fully understanding the game, but I wasn't going to be getting stuck in the first level, right? Like I knew how to progress. And that's a game, in retrospect, it seems like, what the hell is this game? But like at the time, just seeing all the monsters that you ran into, just me like growing up before I got into metal, a lot of what I listened to was a lot of just video game music. So I always appreciate a good soundtrack on a video game. And for me, Quest 64 at the time just seemed like just the battle music and all that stuff to me was something that I found so addicting, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
Or like I would even just like if I'm daydreaming, I would imagine myself as the character Brian, just going around having powers and shooting fireballs and doing all this stuff. And a lot of those enemies, like to me, it was, I think part of it was the creativity. Like if you show a child this freaking mountain of like bones that shoots rocks at you, fighting next to a giant eagle that also makes boulders and stuff fall from the sky and stuff like that. It like my mind was blown seeing these things. Like these are the things that I have to fight. And as you get to the higher levels, you see scarier and scarier monsters, and then stuff like that. I just found it so fascinating, and I think it's part of what kind of pulled me into things that are like loosely like D&D related and things like that, and kind of ended up eventually pulling me into things like card games like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic and all that type of like fantasy sorts of genres loosely. So that's the game that stands out to me from the N64. That I think that had a big role in the sort of nerdy stuff that I like now.
Now was Quest 64, was that a turn-based RPG?
It was turn-based in combat, but at the same time it was I think the short answer is yes. Like I'll make it simple.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of turn-based combat. So that's why I've never been a big fan of JRPGs, because that's a very common thing with them. So I don't say they're bad. Just that's one of the genres that has not appealed to me.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, I think Quest 64 was a turn-based combat game. But yeah,
it's got some real-time elements to it, where, like for example, you walk up to the enemy, you position yourself and all that stuff. You attack. And then when they're doing your attack, like their attack, you can still move. So you can try to like dodge their attacks. But it has like the turn-based part of it because of the way the menu works. If you're trying to use a specific attack, like trying to use because you do have certain powers. Like there's like fireball level 1, level 2, level 3, based on how much mana you want to consume at that point. There's other powers that you have, like if you want to heal or if you want to silence an enemy, things like that. But to do that stuff in real time would be really problematic, especially with it's kind of a product of its time too. But so the turn-based part of it would just be like when you're positioning yourself and selecting your attack. But when they're attacking you can still move. But there's only a certain distance that you can move at any given point. Like there's like an outline that tells you this how far you can move this turn. But you could like run around while you do whatever you want while you position yourself. So it's a weird mix.
Given my limited knowledge on turn-based RPGs, it sounds very much kind of like how the combat worked in South Park Fractured But Whole.
I have a
That fucking
limited
year.
knowledge of that game. I did play it. It was back when you could still rent video games. I didn't get it when I was younger. I didn't understand how it worked, but now I actually am a fan of JRPGs. Final Fantasy Tactics on the DS, the collapsible one, the little one, which I still have. Yeah, that kind of changed it for me. And one thing that actually so like the Wasteland video games are all kind of like turn based ish, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Carl was saying tactical RPG.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and of course Fallout is the original Fallout and stuff like that. So no, they actually they kind of I kind of grew to love them, to be honest. Are they the most exciting? They're like hack and slash? No. But you still get your butt kicked. And that's so that kind of makes them kind of fun. But no, I haven't thought about that game in a long time. Yeah, as a kid, I who would who would play GoldenEye and all this stuff on the 64 because again, we had a 64. I was like, "What the hell is this? Like, what do I do?" Like, I tried to get my dad to help, because half the time that's what that we would, my dad and I would rent a video game and we'd end up playing it and stuff like that. Um, so that's it's fond memories of my childhood. Um, do you mind if I go next, dude?
No, go for it.
All right. I'm gonna go a different direction. I'm gonna go with the console I didn't have growing up as a kid. I'm gonna go with the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Um, my dad got me into the WWF Attitude Era, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, stuff like that. One day, I think it was back when it was on USA, and then it went to TNN, and then I'm back to USA. Watching Monday Night Raw, and I was like, I'm like, what are we watching? Like, because we'd have like a more normal Monday night, it's back when families like would get together, we'd all sit in the living room, we would talk to each other, and we'd watch, a couple shows as a family, right? Back when families did shit together. Excuse my language, sorry, dude. Um, and so he put Raw on, and I'm like, what is this? And within one episode, I was hooked. And when he put it on next week, I was there and I watched. Well, I had a friend who was not a wrestling fan either. And I'm like, and he's like, "Oh, you want to go ride bikes or stuff like that?" Because again, we're in like middle school. And I was like, "Oh, I want to watch Raw's War. The Rock's going to be on." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "I want to watch WWF." And so he had no idea. And so he sat down and watched it. Well, he had a PlayStation 1. He got hooked on it. And then he started coming over on Monday nights and Thursday nights to watch Raw and SmackDown. So he actually his parents got him WWF SmackDown, the original PlayStation 1 wrestling video game. To date, that is still one of my favorite wrestling games of all time. The only one that probably actually it beats it is probably a SmackDown Know Your Role, which is the second game for the PlayStation 2. And we would get together and we would just play that game for hours at his house. We would come to my house if we wanted to play GoldenEye, and a bunch of friends wanted to just, blow each other's heads off, right? And then, of course, if we wanted to play wrestling, we went to his house, which was down the road. Because again, I live in my hometown of where I grew up. Because sometimes after years away, you get tired of the city and you just want to. There's no place like home, especially when you grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
You get tired of the city pretty quick when you get older. You get grumpy. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we
I feel that.
we'd go to his family home, which is still there, which I drive by it all the time because it's on my way home from work and to work. So no, 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 no,
WCW versus NWO is not the best wrestling game.
no, it's not. Especially
But
because WCW is dead.
he has an even better question though. How many times
Yes.
you get in trouble for the suck it sign?
I actually didn't get in trouble for. I wasn't a huge DX fan. I did wear some of the Rock's T-shirts to school, and one of the ones was it says "Get ready" on the front, ... and on the back it says "Your candy ass is next." I wore that to high school, and I didn't get sent home. That's not a joke. I went to a high school where like teachers would see that and they didn't say nothing, and it would say obviously have like the WWF logo and the Rock.com. And then another one that I had, which was a little later on, 2002, the one before that was early 2002. This one was like mid 2002. He had on the front, "We bring the whooping," and then it says on the back, "Your candy ass is next." And I wore that shit to school. I'm not joking. Nowadays, you hear about these
that must be
dress
nice.
codes.
I got in trouble for wearing a beanie.
Yeah, no.
Meanwhile, the pregnant girl's getting beat up by 4 people in the hallway, and that's all good. But I can't wear a beanie.
No, I went
Priorities.
I went to a school where we could actually wear hats in the school itself, unless the teacher asked you to take it off, then you'd have to. But no teacher said anything about my 2 Rock t-shirts, which I still own to this day. I can't wear them anymore because I mean I was like 5'10", 5'11". I'm 6'4" now. They're not gonna fit me. But I kept those because that's classic, man. But no, anyway, Cult of Carl. And one of my favorite storyline of all time was WCW ECW Invasion of WWF. That is the most incredible storyline I've ever seen in the history of wrestling. I will rewatch that until I'm blue in the face before I'd ever watch modern day wrestling. And The Rock is back, and I think it's great, and I feel like a kid again. But yeah, just no, huge wrestling fan. So that's my pick.
You did it IRL for a while, so
I did do it in real life for a while.
Really?
WWE NXT, yeah.
yeah. I found out about that
All
on our
right.
first episode because we were going around and talking about the origins of our online name, and his name Legion was his wrestling name.
Yep, that's where I got
Ah.
Legion Games 2076 from. It's now I got 4 YouTube channels. Yeah, no, it's I want Legion Games to kind of become a kind of an all-encompassing media company because no, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock or Stone Cold and Triple H, or The Rock and Triple H, or all 3 of them. Like, I mean, you're talking about, Stone Cold, The Rock, Kane, The Undertaker, Mankind, fucking even Kurt Angle. Like these are things from my childhood that like I'll watch. There's a YouTube channel that actually puts together the old storylines from the Attitude Era, just like the talking crap and little clips from the matches where things happen, to progress the storyline. They don't show the finale of it, right? Because it's usually pay-per-view. But I watch that like it's crack. Like, I'm not joking.
Well, cool. Well, we took
It's my wrestling spiel. Sorry.
Our
Way to get me going.
Our gaming podcast took an unexpected turn into a wrestling podcast. All of a sudden. But cool. So yeah, for me, both of my already got mentioned earlier today at pretty much the beginning of the stream. So my favorite games from the N64, PS1, Saturn era. Like I said, I never owned a PlayStation, so I can't really say much on the PlayStation. I played a Saturn once or twice over at a friend's house,
Yeah, me
but
too.
I don't really have any background in the Saturn. But I was a Nintendo kid. I had an N64. So my top 2 favorite games, and they're very close together, are Ocarina of Time and Perfect Dark. And then probably like right behind that was the Rogue Squadron game. I 100%ed that and got gold medal on every mission. And that was really difficult.
Rogue Squadron was a blast.
Those were my favorite games from the N64.
Yeah,
So,
out of those, I've only played the Ocarina of Time. The other 2 are kind of.
yeah, and then because I love I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I love the Rogue Squadron game. I got, when the GameCube launched, I got Rogue Leader, the sequel to it, as the on launch day, and that was just like, took it up to 11, and that game was awesome as well. So, yep, Carl's there. Saying Rogue Squadron is GOAT. My N64 came with Star Fox, like I said, so I like that game a lot, but it's not up there in the upper echelon of games for me on N64. But I did like Star Fox. I played a lot of it.
Mine didn't. So the one that my parents got, because they actually waited in line at the Target that's still in my hometown from like 4 a.m. until they opened, because everybody was trying to get a Nintendo 64, or I think the same year it was also Tickle Me Elmo. But anyway, yeah, ours actually came with Mario 64, and that's the game I wanted. So yeah, that's that's the one I was actually going for. But no, I played a little bit of Star Fox. I couldn't get into it to the same way that I got into Rogue Squadron, because I was such a big Star Wars fan. I think Rogue Squadron was better.
Yeah.
But
Because
if they make
Star
it,
Fox is mainly basically an on-rail shooter. There's a couple of missions where you're actually flying
yeah,
around in 3D space. But in Rogue Squadron, that's the entire game is flying around in 3D space.
Yeah, so I mean, if they make a Star Fox movie, I'd be interested in watch it,
That'd be
especially after the
cool.
Mario movie being so successful, and they're going to make a Legend of Zelda. I think if they have the same premise, the same people involved, I think the Nintendo Cinematic Universe is what a lot of people are starting to call it,
Yeah,
is going to be massively successful.
it could be very successful.
I
Yep.
could, yeah.
Yes, forking around says Star Fox Assault was my jam. I did play that, but I only played it once, so I
Never played
vaguely
that.
remember it. But I played Star Fox and Star Fox 64 a lot because I had Star Fox on SNES as well. And Carl asked me, no, I never played Battle for Naboo, but we were actually talking about the Phantom Menace game earlier in the stream. I did not own it, but I did play it over at a friend's house a little bit, but not in its entirety.
It doesn't compare on the original PlayStation. It is 10 times better on the 64. The graphics are better. It's smoother. If you want to try to and you could probably find it on eBay, find a copy of it, and you can actually you can actually download an emulator that makes it work flawlessly, and it's gorgeous. The original Phantom Menace on the PC
Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, I should do that
with the
'cause
original CD. You
I
just
liked.
need this little emulator thing to help transfer it to Windows 11 language.
I might have to hit you up for that because I did like what I played of the Phantom Menace game back in the day, but I only played a little bit of it, so it'd be fun to go back and
So
play
much
that
fun,
one.
dude. So much fun. The force push, like it's the first time you're like you're all you gotta do is like hold down space to swing your lightsaber. You're freaking reflecting bolts back. That's so good.
All right,
Sorry,
you
you give me start on Star Wars now.
yeah. Spartacus is saying that the OG Battlefront games were his. So
Yeah,
we got
it's
a
good too.
new, they're porting it in next week, I think it is. So I could have sworn when it was announced, I heard they were crossplay, but they are not, which is a huge miss. It's like that's the one thing
Yep.
you should have nailed. This would have been one of the biggest game launches. It has cross generation, so like PS4 can play with PS5 and like Xbox One can play with Series X, but you can't play cross platform. So that's a huge loss because that would have been
Well,
huge. So that's a big disappointment, but I'm sure it's still going to do good, but not as good as it would have if it had crossplay.
the Master Chief
Mhm.
collection missed on that one too. You can't play on, even though literally you can play on Xbox and with people, or you can have Game Pass and all that kind of stuff. You can't play from PC to like I don't understand that. Like
Well, I
you're
think
What?
I think it's parts of it. Like some of the games in the collection, you can't do crossplay from Steam, but if you are playing it via the Game Pass Windows version,
I heard
you
Game Pass
can.
actually has issues too.
Like I'm pretty sure
Really?
I heard Game Pass was having issues too.
like the Windows app version can play
Yeah,
with
like the
Xbox, but
actual
if
Game
you're
Pass.
playing on the Steam version, there might be some compatibility issues.
There's definitely massive compatibility issues on the Steam because I'm the one who has it on Steam. But I actually also heard from somebody who actually has it on Game Pass on the PC that there are issues playing compatibility wise that it doesn't always sync up. I'm like, that's a massive L, dudes. Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding with this?
Yeah.
So don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure like the Game Pass PC version doesn't have any issues with the Xbox version, but the Windows Game Pass version and the Steam version have
Yeah,
some compatibility
it's
issues.
the Steam version that has the biggest issues, but yes, there are some issues with the straight Game Pass Microsoft Game Pass app.
Yeah, that's a
So
bummer.
it's still not. Look, whether you like Fortnite or not, Fortnite did it the most successfully, and it's
Yep.
probably why people still play the snot out of Fortnite.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
as a military veteran, it's funny when we get all the veteran guys that are all YouTubers together, and we just get smoked by a bunch of 12-year-old kids. It's
Yeah, love it or
I
hate it.
tried playing Fortnite maybe like twice because my younger sisters are into it. It's not a game for me, but I could see the appeal. Like it looks like a very simple type of shooter, and they got all these pop culture references crammed into it, but not
until they
unfortunately just
did the
not for
no
me.
build thing. Until they did the no build thing, because I didn't understand the whole building stuff. Like that's when
Yeah, I didn't
that's
play
when
that
I
at all.
decided to get into it. I was like, all right, you don't have
Yeah,
to.
I think it took off at that point. I mean, it was
Yeah.
already huge, but it just went to another level when
Mhm.
they did that.
It's when it appealed to old school kind of like, shoot 'em up guys who
Mhm.
like video games. Because again, I'm slightly retarded, so I don't understand how you build a
That's
tower
retarded.
like all the way up, and then you're just like, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never played it and I probably never will, but love it or hate it,
It's like, nope.
they know the for the most part. I mean, they've made a few mishaps. with the stuff they do in the games, but they keep killing it, knocking it out of the park. They are the gold standard for a live service game, and they do it well. So can't knock them for that. So, all right. Well, that will wrap us up for today. That was glad you could join us, Fred. I had a lot of fun.
Dude,
that was
thanks for
great
the
to
invite,
see.
man. I really appreciate it. Can't even properly tell you.
So I typically do an open mic stream on Thursday nights where it's no topics and we just talk about video game stuff or whatever. So, and I always say it's open to everyone. Almost everyone I've seen in the chat has come on at one point to talk open mic. So if anyone wants to come and talk video games with me with nothing on the agenda, that's what open mic is for. So reach out to me and we'll make it happen. So Shred, what do you got going on and what do you got to plug?
Oh, well, usually I have my own stream. Lately, I've just been playing Fire Emblem Path of Radiance is what I'm currently on. About to get finished with the game. I stream mainly to Twitch. I stream and Odyssey is my alternative tech option for those of you who are trying to go to the alt tech. And so, yeah, I stream Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Central. I don't typically stream on Fridays, but sometimes I kind of break my own rule and do that. And then on Saturday, I'm going to be on Cult of Cars RNG Gaming Podcast as well. So you hit him up for that. And that's pretty much all I really got going on. You have my link tree. Will have just the links to like the Discord and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm trying to pull it up right now to drop it in the chat. But I did preload all everyone's YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and whatever links in the stream description. So you can get it from there while I pull it up here to drop it in chat. But yeah, go check out Shred and go give him a follow and watch him.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Cut me
here.
off guard. It's like, oh, right, well, what do I show?
All right, here is that your... which one did I just copy? Yep. Nope. What the heck did I just do? That is...
Oh, I don't know.
I don't even know if that's not what I copied.
Probably a link to one of the videos, probably.
So I'm trying to get the copy link address from your Twitch. Wait, no, that was the Twitter. Let me try it again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm boomering it right now.
Oh, it's all good.
Okay, I copied it, and it says twitch.tv/MetalShredFreak, and then when I paste it, it says youtube.com/something.
What?
So
yeah,
I don't know if
I
that'll work.
If it makes it easier, just do the link tree because that'll have all the stuff in there. Just linktr.ee/MetalShredFreak.
Okay,
I probably should have my name. That would have made it easier.
Let's try that one.
No, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Let's see if that one works. Okay, it shortened it by itself, but that should be your link tree. I don't know what's going on. Technology is being weird. It's not pasting the link that I copied, but it always is. Link tree. So go check out MetalShredFreak. He's a good guy.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you, man. Thank you.
And Ryan,
very professional around here.
Yeah, I know. I'm still
well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Normally after this,
I'd actually. You got going on today?
Ironically, actually none. Normally, I would actually be on Screaming Into the Void in about an hour and a half on Samuel the Infamous's channel, so that will be next week, but not tonight. And then usually, if I have a chance, I'd hop on Vets Talking, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Vets Talking. Drop the G, and you'll find it. God, I use that freaking spiel that Adam does all the time. He's always like, yeah, drop the G, and you'll find me, and it's like, I say it now. Tomorrow on my channel Legion Talk, we're to be and also being dual streaming onto Legion Teaches History. It's my history channel. It's a lot smaller, so we're trying to build the audience up there, but we're going to be watching episode number 7 of Hunting Hitler. It's a history channel documentary. There was 3 seasons, and they explore the possibility that it's highly likely he did not end up dying where we thought. It's very interesting. Hunting Mustache Man.
Oh, Mustache. Okay.
Yeah, Hitler. It's not my channel, so I don't want to say his name. There's a high probability he did not meet his demise where we thought, that he actually escaped. As many prominent individuals in that party did. So anyway, we're going to be doing that. That's 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then after that on Anna's Gameland Rumble, what we're going to be reviewing, we're going to be doing a watch along and a review. It'll probably be about 3 hours. So again, Anna's Game Land. It's on Rumble only because YouTube has a massive issue with even if you argue if it's fair use, and it is fair use, you still usually lose. We're gonna be watching The Crow and reviewing The Crow, and trust me, there's gonna be enough of us that it's gonna be we'll end up watching like 5 minutes and then talking for like 7, and it's like it's gonna be like a 3-hour stream. We'll probably have to break the movie down into they did
gonna EFAP it.
yeah, we're gonna EFAP it. But yeah, no, YouTube is so up their own butt that we're doing it on Rumble. So again, that's Anna's Game Land. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There's gonna be probably a good 10 of us there. The usual suspects. Neo knows Neo knows what I'm talking about. So it's gonna be pretty rowdy, probably. Cool. And then Monday Night Game of Thrones. I do mine on YouTube and Rumble, because YouTube can eat a bag of stuff, and I put my content everywhere, including Twitter. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Excellent.
Nice.
Right. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we did a ranking our top 5 Mario games on Thursday. That was our second episode, so it was a blast. I definitely recommend going back and listening to it because it was such a fun stream. And if you like Metroidvanias, that was our episode 1, so you might want to go back and check that out as well. That was from last month.
I just might. I love those.
So and that's something I need to talk to you about after the stream.
Gotcha.
So I am planning on being on Goes Nowhere Does Nothing tonight. He's changed a couple times on what the topic is going to be, so I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be talking about. That should be fun. So you can come hang out with me on Goes Nowhere Does Nothing channel. Charlie, he's a good guy. And then tomorrow, unless he changes his mind or has to reschedule on me, I'm planning on co-piloting for DJ Access as he plays through Mega Man X3, which is my favorite Mega Man game, as he is least familiar with that of the Mega Man X games, and that one I am most familiar with. So I played through it not that long ago and had him kind of co-pilot where I was kind of giving him tips, but he's actually going to be playing it now, and I'll be feeding him tips. So we should be doing that tomorrow afternoon about 12 Pacific. And then I've got my next episode of Open Mic scheduled for Thursday night at 9 o'clock Pacific with Edgewood, who's kind of just joined our little corner of the internet. And so I'm looking forward to talking to him about video games. So, and with that, our next episode of Party Chat will be 2 weeks from today on the 23rd with, Shred's good buddy, Carl of Dojima, Adam. So
name.
He was on Open Mic with me last week on the 29th. So he'll be on Party Chat next on the 23rd. So I've got a couple of the streams that week, but I'll get to that once we get a little bit closer. So I had a blast talking with both of you guys. As always, Ryan, you're such a fun time, and Shred, great getting to meet you and talk games with you.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
your
good to meet you, man.
Is so much better than mine.
Talks.
I'm jealous.
I was wondering, what is your background from?
Background from?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a screenshot that I found on Google from Metroid Prime.
I thought so when you moved over a little bit and I saw the handprint right behind your right shoulder.
Oh yeah,
the other way.
That one, the Space Pirate.
I was like, that looks like a
Space
Pirate handprint. So I bet you that's Metroid Prime. So yes,
I did a little work with using transparency to cut out the screens and putting a copy of it in the background and adding an OBS filter to make it look like monitors like that. There was a little project I did just because I got kind of bored and I'm like, all right, I'll do this.
That's perfect. I love it. So
thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Had a great time. We'll catch you guys
thank
later.
You for inviting, man. Awesome.
All right. We will catch you later, everyone in chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. Spartacus, forking around. Carl, keep enjoying the rest of your vacation. Vanquish, Tomby, JT, Kit, Melee K, Tim Stock, Real Wade Nation, and Matriel and Static. Love seeing you guys here. Thanks for hanging out with me. We will catch y'all later. In the meantime,